Hey guys, welcome back. I am super excited to have someone that I know you guys have been asking a lot of questions to through me, and now I'm actually going to do it myself right here. So, like I mentioned in the beginning of this video, I am putting the CEO of EverBee, Cody McGuffie, in the hot seat. So we're gonna go ahead and just get right in. Hello, Cody. Thank you for being here with me today.
Man, pressure's on.
Kind of didn't have a choice.
Super happy to be here. Thank you, Leslie.
Of course. I'm super stoked. Cody and I have been in each other's circles for around, I guess, a year and a half, 2 years or so now. And we're in a very different situation now, obviously. So I'm excited to get your questions answered and also questions that I had for him as well about his personal story. So if you're ready, I'll just dive right in.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. So first of all, I actually do want to know this because I'm not going to lie. I have stalked you in the past, light stalking. And I saw that you were like in the real estate space at one point. So I was wondering what inspired you to actually start EverBee in the first place. And today, what is the difference of your initial vision to where it is now?
Oof. Big question. Start at the beginning. I guess the answer would be freedom. We were essentially chasing financial freedom was the main thing. I graduated college with a super excitement to just jump into the marketplace and like make my mark. And I wanted to make six figures. That was like my main goal, right? I want to make $100,000 a year. I'll be successful as long as I have benefits and I can provide for my family. And that was the main mission. And as soon as you get to that point, you realize quickly that, oh, it's not actually, I wasn't actually dreaming big enough and I wasn't thinking about it. Like I wasn't really stepping back and looking at the entire picture. And what I found is that I'm not actually chasing this $100,000. I'm actually chasing freedom. I'm chasing financial freedom. And eventually come to find out that I'm actually chasing location freedom and time freedom as well. This observation led me to start numerous companies. It led me on this entrepreneurial journey of how do I find financial freedom? That was the first thing. And financial freedom to me meant that I could do what I want, I could do whenever I want to do it, and I could do it with whoever I want. And I always enjoyed this idea of, man, what if I could just retire early? That would be pretty cool. And I could like probably help a lot of people. I could probably like donate more of my time. I could probably donate a lot of my money. I could probably go on vacations with my wife, my kids, my family. I could probably coach them and I could do all this stuff. But the challenge with this normal, quote unquote, normal lifestyle of having a 9-to-5 job, it was very clear that that wasn't going to provide that life for me and not for my family. So long story to answer your question, but essentially that's what led me down this path of entrepreneurship. The first book I happened to pick up was Rich Dad Poor Dad on this topic.
That's a good one.
And Robert Kiyosaki's a real estate guy, and he talks about passive income. And so that just led me down this real estate path of, I just need to buy apartments and I need to like go. Yeah, not a big deal, right? Nice. And but I didn't have any money, and you know,
important.
And but I did that for like 2.5 years. My wife and I, we started this real estate investing business where we bought it like small apartment buildings, and we bought single family homes and we fixed them up and we flipped them, and we did it for 2.5 years. But it was never enough to achieve this financial freedom. It was never enough. I could not quit my job. And at that point, I'm making.
So were you doing a 9-to-5 and then that on the side?
That's correct.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
And so was my wife. My wife was working full time too, and we would literally do this on the side.
Jeez.
And what this taught us was how to outsource things, how to fill partnerships, how to scale our time as a corporate employee as well, but also not sacrifice value, to the corporate company that I'm loyal to. And it helped me to be very grateful about my entire situation. And it was really, really cool and very challenging. But then I realized real estate's not it. E-commerce is it. There was a point in there where I was just like, e-commerce is it. And I met a friend at a real estate event, and he happened to be a very successful Amazon seller. And I invited him to coffee or lunch. Tell me everything you know. Tell me why I should do it, why I shouldn't do it. Told me everything. And at that point, I was pretty sold on just e-commerce in general. And I realized now that is the fastest path to my freedom that I was chasing. Nice. And so that's what I did. Amazon FBA led me to selling on Shopify, my own website, and then it led me to eBay a little bit, and then it led me to everything, right? Tasted it all, and eventually led me to Etsy. Nice. And Etsy was a beautiful, beautiful platform because I've already had all this knowledge about algorithms and ranking and all this stuff. And when I got into Etsy, it was like, oh,
nice.
This is pretty simple, actually. We just need
very beginner friendly.
You just need a great product, and it's very beginner friendly. And I knew that we had an advantage there with all the background in the other marketplaces. Led me to Etsy, which led me to, I was at this point, it's very important to understand that I was working at a company called Qualcomm, a tech company, and known for its innovation and semiconductors and things like this in the mobile space. And so I was around engineering all day, every day, also from a corporate perspective. And this has a huge impact on my life because I realized about technology and about software. I just didn't understand how to put it together in my own life for a long time. I was doing e-commerce and I had this technical 9 to 5. And I knew that if I could merge these two things together and I could also help a lot of people and I could also make a lot of money, then I knew that I could do it forever.
Trifecta.
I knew that I could do it forever. And because I'll be just so passionate and so obsessed with it. It's just a never ending game. So that's what happened. I launched with had a bunch of different ideas and software. I tried to merge them to real estate. I tried to merge them to lots of things, construction. And then eventually I started merging them to e-commerce, and then EverBee was born.
Very cool. How long, if you don't mind me asking, was this journey? Like, how many years are we talking? Because it seems like 20, but, but I know how old you are.
It was a long time. It was a long time. I did start pretty much my entrepreneurial journey at 23. So
almost like a decade.
Gosh, yeah.
Wow.
It's been 11 years now at this point. I guess it has been, yeah.
Very
EverBee's
cool.
3 years old. And then I was working on other projects in software and e-commerce and all this stuff probably 6 years prior to EverBee, and just trying to figure out something, scrapping a product up, a software product up to hopefully add value to the marketplace, and then realize that, oh, this isn't it, or this is going to require too much funding, or this isn't helping enough people. Right. And you could ask my wife. She could tell you stories of just how many products, how many things did we build and we launched, and in hindsight failed, but also we taught us so much.
I was about to say, but did it? Because look where you are.
Yeah, totally.
Exactly.
Blessed.
I think that is the perfect segue then into the second question that I had was, you are actually, I don't know if anybody knows this yet, but we are in the process of launching a lot of new things within EverBee. So it started as a research tool for Etsy sellers kind of only, which I say only lightly because obviously it's changed, 650,000 people's lives now, which is insane. But I want to know, we are actually heading into different platforms now. Going forward, we're getting into potentially Amazon. We're looking at TikTok Shop. There's a direction that EverBee is going that we've never gone before. So what drives that passion? Like you changed so much, you evolved so much in your own life to get to where you are. Is that the same passion you're bringing to the evolution of EverBee, or tell me more about that?
It's a great question. It's a big question too. It comes down to, I don't like to put myself in a box. I'm not just an Etsy seller.
Yep.
I'm not just an Amazon seller. I'm not just an eBay seller or Shopify seller, or I'm not just a freelancer. People do this. The market does this. They put us in boxes. And the truth is, you're an entrepreneur. You're a creator. You're a mom and you're a dad and you're a business owner. And that looks different in different stages of your life. And so it's never been EverBee's sole mission to only benefit Etsy sellers.
Nice.
Because Etsy sellers are not just Etsy sellers. A lot of times they sell on Amazon. They sell on their own website, or maybe they don't yet, but they want to.
Right.
And we just believe that Etsy is an incredible sales channel. At the end of the day, it's a sales channel. And everyone should have their own website at the end of the day eventually.
I call it a home.
Yeah, exactly. It's like their own piece of real estate, right? You build the house on top of the real estate, and that no one can take from you. Now, Etsy and Amazon and eBay are all amazing marketplaces, but that's what they are. They're marketplaces, and they are sales channels. And so at the end of the day, it probably comes down to a passion, probably more than anything else, of I just believe that this is how it should work anyway. It's going to be difficult, and it's challenging, and it comes with a whole bunch of complexities. But at the end of the day, it's what I believe is the right thing to do, even for all the people that are listening to this today, watching this today. This is actually the way that commerce should be done. It should be done on your own real estate, but you should absolutely benefit the marketplaces, and they should benefit you as well. It's not like you have to do one or the other. It's lots of different things all coming into play to really help the seller or the entrepreneur build that like 3 levels of freedom: time freedom, location freedom, and financial freedom. It doesn't have to look one way all the time.
Agreed. So you actually are in the process of, we know we have research, the product analytics dashboard, keyword research tool. We are currently getting into the space of EverBee print. We're currently getting into EverBee store. And then also we obviously had EverBee email for a while, but even that's transitioning and kind of growing to bigger than you ever imagined. So with that said, how do you see these new services or this new direction kind of transforming the way that your current or future customers' businesses operate?
Yeah, it's a great question. There's changes that comes with expanding of the vision, expanding of the product suite, things like this. But at the end of the day, these are all essential things that a seller needs at some point in their journey. What we would never do, what EverBee would never do, is expect everyone to use every single product at the exact same time, because that's not exactly how it works with e-commerce. Now, there's certain things that you'll use 2 or 3 of these products at the same time, just because they're the stack for your online business. But at the end of the day, they're all separate products serving different purposes. And EverBee Research was an incredible product, and still is it's an incredible product because it helps you find the best products to sell on the internet, on Etsy mostly. And when we had EverBee email come out, at the end of the day, it came into people, all of our sellers. We realized that they don't only do, only sell on Etsy primarily as like it's a marketplace, drive traffic through Etsy. Oh, they also want to drive traffic through email marketing. There was no tight email marketing integration for Etsy sellers that we felt like was good enough. So we built EverBee email. Obviously, that's changed a lot with the Etsy integration, stuff like this, but we still believe that's true. And EverBee print is going to be a core function of, well, people are going to be able to find the best products to sell on Etsy. They're also going to they're also now going to be able to house and have that inventory for those great products as well.
Without having inventory.
I'm sorry,
which is
yes,
even better.
Exactly, without actually having physical inventory, which is beautiful. And then they use EverBee email to communicate that vision, that passion, that brand to the end customer.
I love it.
And then, and eventually what we'll talk about more in the future is EverBee Store is going to play a very pivotal role in the entire ecosystem because people have limited options when they go to build their own websites, their own store. There are options out there, but personally, they don't live up to the standards that I believe that our Etsy sellers really, really need, our current Etsy sellers, and also our current just e-commerce sellers want right now. It's not simple enough, and it's at the end of the day, we need simplicity in order to drive our business because it's a complex business. E-commerce is. So our tools need to be very, very simple.
Agreed. So I know a question that people might be having that are watching this right now is like, why didn't we just stay? We were doing so good. Why didn't we just stay a product research tool? So what do you see or foresee the challenges potentially being, and how do you guys at EverBee plan to overcome them with basically going into 4 different sectors now instead of the one that you were really good at?
Yeah, I would say I'll probably reframe that question to not be past tense. We weren't doing so
very good at
and product research. We are really great at product research, and we will continue to be really great at product research. And the question is, how do we do that while also building other platforms that are essential for the e-commerce ecosystem? And the truth is, for this is companies do it all the time. There's a way to do it, and there's a way to not do it. And getting into our organization a little bit, step one is you need to hire literally the best people that there possibly is, right? That have a vision, that understand the customer's needs, and truly be obsessed with the customer experience and just the customer in general, right? So customer obsession is first. So 1, the right people. 2 is how we structure those teams. So for EverBee, we structure teams in a compartmentalized approach. So every research team is its own team. It's always been the same team. And so we have a product research team that is continuing to drive innovation for that product. That's not stopping, it never will. It's not like we take off people from product research and apply them to another product. We continue to iterate quickly, get customer feedback, iterate quickly on product research. Meanwhile, we have another team, and we hire for that team, and we build that team for EverBee email, and then we do the same thing for EverBee print, It's the same thing for EverBee store. And at the end of the day, that's how you win. That's how you build products quickly.
Agreed.
And that's without sacrificing another product for another product. But you asked a good question still that I didn't answer yet is, what are the challenges that come with this besides the things I just mentioned? I think the biggest challenge that we foresee is probably the positioning of EverBee in someone's mind, in a customer's mind. Sellers understand that in their mind, EverBee is a product research tool for Etsy. That's how we are branded in someone's head right now. It's even in my head. Like Etsy just spills out of me. I talk about it. I just mentioned Etsy, without even realizing it.
Yeah.
And that's great. That's perfect. It's actually exactly how it should be. That will be the biggest challenge probably of trying to be in it for the long haul and educate people that, hey, EverBee is not just a product research tool only. We're great at that. And we're also really great at these other core things as well that you need for your e-commerce business. My hope is that we communicate this properly to our customer base, and I hope they adopt it at the end of the day. The cool thing about it is EverBee's not here for the short term. Like we have a very, very long-term approach, 10, 20, 30-year approach.
Amazing.
I say that it's actually like a 50-year approach to a 100-year approach, to be honest with you.
We'll be long gone, but still be going on.
Totally. But that's our hope, is that it continues to drive, even without me and without you and without, everyone on the team. So anyway, I hope that answers the question.
No, very much so. And I love that you said like your 10-year plan, EverBee's 10-year plan, 50, 100, whatever, because I actually am interested in getting into a little bit more into your story and the impact that you see all 4 of these, or just EverBee in general, kind of helping people. So how has leading EverBee shaped your own views on entrepreneurship and the future of online business in general? I know you just changed the name of the podcast from Etsy Seller to Online Business. So how does that kind of play a role in your own life?
Yeah, how have I evolved, essentially? It's kind of the question. I hope that I've evolved in a great way for my family, for my wife, for my kids. I hope that for my brothers, my sisters, and for our employees and our team. That's the goal, is to kind of continue to level up and be the best human I could possibly be. Not just CEO, not just founder, but the human aspect is the most important thing. I think that I've gotten better. I think that I have learned to trust people in a really great way. Trust people from all over the globe. Our team is the most incredible team I've ever experienced. And I've worked at some of the most inspiring tech companies across the world, or that work across the world. And I would put our team against anybody. Nice. And we're a team of 35 people right now and growing. We're probably 50 by next few months. Nice. But our team is just incredible. I mean it, customer obsessed. They only care about the customer. All the metrics are all driven based on the customer actions and what they want. And you're an example of this, right? We hire such great people that care so much about the customer. I think my ability to recognize that is the most important thing for our business. I think that came recently through the leadership of EverBee. And I've also realized that we need to continue to just do more for the ecosystem, right? Invest in the ecosystem rather than just for our customers also. We need to be thinking about how does this impact the world of creators, of online business owners.
Nice.
So
I love that. I have one more question that I want to ask before I turn the tables on you and ask you your own rapid fire questions, if you're cool with that. If you guys have not checked out the Built Online podcast, like I said, we used to call it the Etsy Seller podcast, but it has just recently transitioned because he is always trying to evolve for you guys and make it where you can build your own online business no matter where you're at in your journey. With that knowledge, I want to kind of ask one last thing before we get into the standard rapid fire questions that are also on the Built Online podcast. Please go check that out after this. But my last question is, if you could go back to the very beginning of EverBee, what would you do differently and why?
There's not a lot I would do differently, to be honest with you.
Fantastic.
There's really not. I don't have a lot of regrets. I think I got this, read this somewhere, maybe it was Bezos that said it, and he probably got it from somebody else, but I try to minimize my regrets, right? I take a regret minimization framework. So I really don't have any regrets, and I don't think I would do a lot differently. What I would probably, if I give myself advice though, probably 3 years ago when I was starting EverBee, I would probably just say trust yourself more, and trust that your intentions are more meaningful than anything else.
Love it.
As long as you show up with the intention to help people, as long as you show up with the intention to help them build a thriving online business, usually everything else kind of will take care of itself as long as you just stay the path.
Right, agreed.
I think there was a lot of times when starting EverBee, a lot of sleepless nights, a lot of stress, late nights with teams across, going down for like 48 hours at one point, when we have, in hindsight, it was a tiny user base.
Right.
At the time, 3 years ago, 1,000 people, 2,000 people was our user base. That was the most important thing we can do, is be up for them.
Right.
And just the stress that takes on you. I think that was a great experience. I would also give myself the advice of, hey, it will all work out.
Fine.
Just like, it's a good thing that people are upset when you're down.
True.
And that means that you're meaningful.
They're craving it to be back up,
And so that was pretty cool. But also that would be my advice that I would give, is just
trust.
Enjoy this. Trust yourself.
Love it. Okay, I'm gonna hit you with the rapid fire now.
Okay.
You ready? All right, let's do it. All right, so what is your I think I know the answer, but what is your favorite business book?
I know. I said secret, but I think you probably think
I think that's a personal book,
that's more of a personal book, right? Working Backwards.
I've never heard that one.
Working Backwards is the two executives that helped build Amazon to what it is today.
Nice.
And they walk exactly through how to work through very challenging problems,
Nice.
how to structure teams in order to spark and continue to innovate as the company grows. And that's a very challenging thing to do. That's why big companies, the bigger they get, the slower they become. And that's the opposite of what I want for EverBee.
Nice.
And so, Working Backwards.
Working Backwards. Very cool. I'll look it up. What's one thing you wished you knew before starting your business?
The importance of focus. Focus is the most important thing. It's the most important asset when you're going to do something hard. And what I mean by that is, when you do 3 things, you become average at 3 things. And if you do 2 things, you will get a little better at both those things than if you were to have 3. But you'd still be the average. Like, you'd kind of be average at 2 things. But if you do one thing, you can focus so deeply and get so obsessed with that one thing that you could become the best in that one thing.
Great.
And that's actually what we want. I believe most people listening to this, and I personally wanted this, is you actually just want to be really, really great at one thing, and usually it takes care of everything else.
Nice. Very cool. All right. What's the worst advice you've ever received in business?
Ooh, yeah. Diversify.
I could have said that for my own business too.
Yeah, diversify.
That's a good one.
Just diversify. It's safer and it's better. And it's not the same that's such bad advice. I think it's bad advice when you start out. I think it's really bad advice when you start out. I remember talking to somebody early on when I started EverBee as a customer. We did customer interviews, like hundreds of customer interviews after they would sign up. And a lot of them, actually, I would ask them, hey, what are you working on? What kind of entrepreneurial things are you doing outside of your Etsy business, outside of your e-commerce business? And usually they have 2 or 3 other things going on at exactly the same time, on top of being a mother, on top of being a father. And a lot of times they're not even related to each other. They're not even related. They're like, oh, I'm starting this real estate. I'm a real estate agent also, and also I do this real estate. I'm doing this real estate investing course, and I'm also starting this. I'm starting this Etsy business too. And usually my first piece of advice is, you need to pick one.
Choose one. Yeah.
You don't have to pick mine, like for EverBee, right? Pick the one you think you have the best chance of winning in first, and then you can diversify later on after you're super successful and you figure out how to scale teams and work on teams and make sure you don't lose value. But that's the worst advice, is diversify too early.
I mean, the best thing is too, it's like the thing that you would have told yourself as advice was focus. And the worst advice you got was lose focus. So I think that's very interesting.
Exactly.
So I probably know the answer to this too, because I said it myself a second ago, but how many hours a week do you work on the business?
It's a good question. How do you define work is the question.
Right.
How do you define work? If I were to define work and behind a laptop, I probably work the typical 8 to 9 hours a day. Typical. And if I were to define work the way that I define it is like education.
Yep.
You're thinking about the business, you're networking on the business, maybe you're taking a phone call on a walk.
Right. You're doing a podcast.
Doing a podcast.
YouTube episode.
Yeah, it's gosh, how many hours do I sleep? And then
minus that.
Right. And then minus like even the kids. I have two kids that are so special, one on the way. And my wife is amazing. We don't optimize in our family. We don't optimize for work-life balance, and it's contrary to a lot of people. People will hate me for saying this, but we don't optimize for work-life balance. We call it work-life integration.
Oh, I like that.
And I stole this from somebody else, and it's the idea that you don't do anything great when it's completely balanced. It's very, in my opinion, it's pretty much impossible to do anything of really great value when you're not completely focused and imbalanced in it. You need to be completely obsessed with something. If I'm trying to lose weight for myself, like the only way I'm going to do it personally and for me to get the fastest results is for me to be thinking about losing weight.
Right.
I need to be working out every day. I need to be thinking about what I'm going to be eating. And sure enough, you lose weight. And it's the same thing for your business. Okay, so the last one I have, which is perfect because you were talking about your wife, your 2 kids, and 1 kid on the way. If your family, friends, and customers, so all 650,000 of us, had to write an honest article about you, characterizing your traits as a friend, as a husband, as a CEO, as a boss, as a leader, what do you think they'd say? Or what do you hope they'd say? Ooh, they might be different. Fair. But I hope that they're the same. Yeah. I like to think that they would characterize me as humble, very humble, modest, calculated. I like that. Kind and generous. Very hardworking. Probably more than anything else. Probably hardworking. Like there's no one else that they would know probably that works harder than I do. Right. Great father. And somebody that's just obsessed with their kids and obsessed with his wife. And also obsessed with like my brothers, my sisters, and my, like everybody, my mother and my father. And I like to think that they would think of me as, I think in abundance rather than scarcity. Nice. I don't think about you have to be a great father or a great businessman. I think you can do both. I think you can be super, super ultra wealthy and also be a great present father and a great husband. And be married for forever, and you don't have to make these huge sacrifices. That's what I believe, and I hope that they would write that. Values the right things and devalues like the things that he doesn't see value in. Nice. They wouldn't say that. They'd say I don't have a lot of hobbies. My work is my hobby. It's my passion. it's my obsession. It's my love. Same. Mixed with my family. Those are things I think that they would say, and I also hope that they would say. I don't really, what you didn't hear in there is I don't really care if they were to say that I was super smart, super influential. I don't really care about those things. I care mostly about the impact that I'm having. Nice. I love to hear it, dude. This has been awesome. I learned so much about you. Obviously, I've known you for like 2 years now, but this was really, really cool to kind of really get to know Cody, not just, like you said, the CEO of EverBee, or not just the Etsy seller. So I really appreciate you being here. Again, you had no choice, but I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you did, please do me a quick favor and go ahead and like this video. Please make sure to go ahead and subscribe to the channel as well. As you guys know, I go live for you every Thursday, and we also post a video just like this for our Etsy and e-commerce sellers, and soon to be potentially other platforms as well very soon. So stay updated with EverBee by going ahead and clicking that bell icon to get notifications about when these things go live and when our next interview will be with another Etsy or e-commerce seller just like you. And with all of that said, I will see you guys in the next video.